Get started here. Your first question here at Cal is going to come from Jim McGill with Bear Insider.
Hey, Coach, welcome to Cal. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with Justin and what role that played in making the move over to Cal? And I'll follow up with another one after that.
Okay. Um, yeah, so obviously, Coach Wilcox and I worked together at Washington and at USC when he was a defensive coordinator at both of those stops. And, working with him was great. We stayed and maintained a great friendship throughout all the years, kept in touch frequently, has been a big mentor to me as I'm trying to grow defensively. So we've always had a great relationship. And coming to work for a defensive head coach and someone that I have tremendous respect for, when the position opened up, it was kind of like a no-brainer, specifically coaching the outside backers, a position that I have not coached. So just the growth and to be around a great guy. And Justin has had, and I should say Coach Wilcox and Cal has had tremendous success since he's been here, in the 4 years. I saw it as an opportunity for myself to grow and an opportunity for me to go somewhere to help the program grow as well.
Great. And as a follow-up question, you have an impressive list of recruits that you were the primary recruiter for over the years. Can you talk a little bit about your recruiting philosophy, and is it something that you really enjoy as part of the game, or is it just part of the mix of what you do and your coaching responsibilities?
I say it like this. I've been blessed to be a part of the lives of the young men that we recruit. And I truly look at it as, I'm developing a relationship. And I, as much as I'm trying to get to know them, I want these young men to get to know me, that I'm vested in. I kind of go about three things: teaching, accountability, attention to detail. But in the teaching part, it's just like I'm learning from these young men as much as they're learning from me. I'm showing them how to be a man. It's like, this is in college football, this development. You are taking these young men away from their parents. They're choosing and they're trusting you with their sons to develop them not only as football players, but as men. And I think the game of football teaches us about the virtues of life. So I always talk about football as the nucleus that brings us together, but we learn so many different life lessons. And I see myself as a mentor. So I enjoy the relationship part of building a relationship with the young men throughout the recruiting process. And that's what you do. You just kind of build trust as you go along. And of course, a lot of the young men choose to go different places, but it's the relationships that you build. So I look at it as I try to just build relationships. And if I'm able to gain the trust of the young man and their parents and fortunate enough to coach them, that obviously is a plus. But I'm just me, like I said, football is the nucleus that brings us together. And I just see myself as a tool to help give back all the things that I've learned and help them grow, not only as football players, but as men.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll go to Trace Travers from Rivals.
Good morning, Coach. Welcome to the Bay Area.
Good morning, Trace.
I wanted to ask about, you said it yourself, you're coaching outside linebackers for the first time. It also says in your Twitter header that you're coaching nickelbacks. How is that transition from coaching mainly defensive backs throughout your career going to work for you?
It's going to work fine. I mean, I've always studied, the front end. And when you're coaching like the outside backers, depending upon if you're 3 down or 4 down, which here we are very multiple. When you're in the 3 down, those guys are just overhangs, typically one, or it could be both of them are dropping in coverage. And then so that my defensive background helps me with that, because now I'm just taking a longer body and he's playing some sort of 3-match, 3-zone or cover 4 concept. And then as when you're in your 4 down, or those guys are part of the front, now there's just different techniques that they're executing up front, whether they're, and this is football talk here now. So whether they're a 5 technique, a 9 technique, or a 6, you're setting edges, spill or splattering blocks. So that's all. That's what it is. The finer details of how to coach that, as far as the fundamentals, the eyes, the hand placement, those are things that I shouldn't say learning, because those are things that when I have the secondary and you're coaching a nickel and you bring the nickel from the field, he's coming from the field, and when he's blitzing or part of the front, he's doing the same thing as the quote unquote outside linebacker is doing. It's just now you're coaching, guys who are primarily up there at part of the front.
Gotcha. And with that, Cal's had a kind of star position over this past year or so. Are you going to be working with that group, since it kind of encompasses that outside linebacker nickel responsibility?
Yes, I believe so. We've kind of had those conversations with Coach Sermon, because it's our boundary, our field, the star, which is kind of like the nickel or the salmon base. That's all encompassing of the same thing. So those guys are the overhang of the defense, and those guys will fall under me at times too.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. We'll go to Jeff Ferrano with Cal Sports Report.
Keith, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Jeff. How are you?
I'm all right. Let me ask you a non-football question first, which just sort of what's your impression so far of Berkeley? And you probably haven't gotten to get out there and do everything you hopefully eventually will be able to do, but it's a different place for most people. What are you seeing so far, and what are you liking about it?
Yeah, so I'll tell you this. When I was in high school, this coming up here to Cal Berkeley was my first unofficial visit when Niall Benjamin was playing back in the day. Yeah. So you're right. I haven't been able to see a whole lot. I've really just been in my office, in the meeting rooms, as we've been doing defensive meetings and recruiting meetings. And then I go back to where I'm staying to sleep. But I tell you this, no knock on the state of Oregon, where it is raining, but it's nice and sunny outside right now. Still a little cool, but I walked across campus. I shouldn't say across campus, but I walked down the hill, almost to Telegraph, as I'm trying to get familiar, and just went to go get some food. But it seems like pretty nice. You just kind of walking through the neighborhood. Definitely liking the weather and the blue sky. And I haven't been out a whole lot, but as I have time, and I do like to go for little walks during lunch. I will get around and get to know campus and everything like that. So I'm looking forward to that.
And then more on football. Can you just talk about what you see in the personnel that you're walking into, and on the defense in general, but also at your position group?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I can't really speak to a whole lot. I'm still getting to know these guys. Workouts have been somewhat, limited. So just in meeting with the guys, I think I got a great group of personalities, and they seem like a great group of guys. So I am happy about that, and they've all come to meet me. I've been on I should say I've been out there to the field just to say hello when they've been there. Did a Zoom with them when I first got here. We've been on the phone texting. So I'm excited to meet with them and work with them when we're allowed to. And they are a tremendous group. They wouldn't be here if they weren't. And watching them and the success that they've had defensively here, I think that it's going to be great to work with them, and I have a solid foundation, to move forward with.
Great, thanks.
Okay, we'll move to David Bush from Bear Insider.
David, you trying to find that mute button, huh?
Dave, I think you might be on mute. We'll get back to Dave. We'll go to Jim McGill from Bear Insider as well.
Hey, Keith, just to follow up, Cal's been one of the few teams that have been able to slow down Oregon's offense over the years. What have been your impressions of the defense and the program in general from afar?
Well, from afar, you always knew when you played Cal, like they were going to bring it, and they were going to be really good defensively. And I think that's, when you have a defensive head coach, and always like that, as I've been with, Coach Sark and, and Coach Taggart. And, you know, when you have a head coach on one side of the ball or another, they kind of put their focus there. Not saying that the other side of the ball cannot be as good, but what I've observed, and every time when I was on the other side and I was going against Cal, everybody raved about, you know, that this is a really disciplined team. They play tough, they're physical. So those are my impressions. And then I know what goes on and how it's coached, because it's about, everybody does the same thing, but it's about how you're teaching it and how you play the game. I know how Justin and Coach Sermon coaches those guys and the expectations. So it's no surprise to me that they have the defensive success that they've had.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think David, I think his question Jim asked.
Well, I got one more anyway.
Go ahead, David, if you have one. Go
Yeah.
for it.
Have you talked to Coach DeRuiter at all? Are you and he just going to trade houses if it?
Yeah, we were there for a couple of days together as we were in passing, and we talked and stuff. But you know, I've known Coach DeRuiter since he was back at Fresno State, so we're friends. Great guy, much respect for, you know, what he does and the things that he's done. But will we trade houses? I don't know. You know, I got my wife Cameo, my two daughters, Kendall and Cameron. They are 5 and 7 currently. So, you know, my wife Cameo, she's the boss of the house. Like I just go there to sleep. and so she will do all the arranging and picking where we will live and what schools the girls will go to and so forth.
Yeah, have you had a chance to get to know the other coaches on the staff? Did you, obviously, and you and Sermon and Wilcox have some background together, but what's your relationship with the other coaches?
Oh, so I've known Marcel Yates, Coach Yates, for a long time. Just getting to know Coach Browning, he's sharp, and he's somebody I'm going to be leaning on, you know, as far as techniques and stuff up there in the front. Tui and I have known each other. We were also worked together in the past. I've known Coach Aristotle for a long time. Burrow and I have met in the past. So I think, I'll be honest, the only one, Angus, I've known. The only one that I haven't, you know, known is Coach Musgrave, but he's a great guy, great mind, our OC. So I've known a lot of the staff and a lot of great guys, big part of why I chose to make the transition.
Thanks.
Okay, guys, anybody with any final questions for Keith? All right, well,